welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. I'm your host, Toku, from It's Toku TV on Twitch. It has been a long while, and Clan Collection 5 and 6 have already been out for quite some time, but I figured this is going to be a mainstay of the channel, so I've taken some time out of my failing job search to give you, the viewers, what you want. My based, red-pilled, and Regalia takes on the new cards and supports for Clan Collections 5 and 6. Once again, we need to preface the video as well as the rest of the series by letting you know that these lists are made at face value using my skills of card evaluation. They will need playtesting to fine-tune, but I hope they will serve as a good reference point for filthy net deckers to piggyback off of. Welcome back to Clan Collection Cores. Triple whammy for clans that I love. We have Genesis for today's episode of Clan Collection Cores. Clan Collection 5 and 6 brought to the Genesis clan more support to the Regalia archetype. Being my beloved Misaki's choice of archetype for the Genesis clan, I had to follow suit and play some Regalia as well when it came out. My only gripe is, why did Bushiroad never ask me to draw the new art for V Premium Minerva? We could have had something great. Let's go ahead and introduce our new Regalias. The new Grade 3, beloved Regalia, Frigg. On the Vanguard circle, all of your rearguards with a Divine Gauge cannot leave the rearguard circle by opponent's card effects and gains 5k. She also has an act skill of once per turn to counterblast 1 and superior call any unit from the top 5 cards of the deck. And if we call the Regalia, we can Divine Gauge up to 2 of our rearguards. Finally, her Regalia Blast. At the beginning of your turn, if your opponent is at 4 or less damage, you can discard 5 Divine Gauges to ping your opponent for 1. All I can say is, it's a good thing Frigg is friggin' hot, because that's all she really is for the V Premium format. I'll go on record to say that I believe Angelica is better as a boss unit to sit on right now. Giving full resist rather than anti-removal is a huge difference, and although Link Joker isn't what I would call super prevalent meta, I would prefer not to lose games to getting my units locked and losing my gauges if I can help it. That being said, I can appreciate her Counterblast 1 superior call not being restricted to Regalias. It's a bit unfortunate that it does cost a Counterblast because the best funnel for Counterblast is for Norn and Iggy. And the fact that the Divine Gauging is linked to that Counterblast is a bit unfortunate. Finally, though I like the ability to burn 1 to help close out games, it being at the beginning of your turn rather than the end of your opponent's turn means that the damage trigger can linger. Let's take a look at the Grade 2. Regalia of Avawal Regissa. When placed on Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1 and look at the top 5 cards of your deck and superior call 1. If you call the Regalia, you can Divine Gauge up to 1 rearguard. And on rear placement, you can soul charge up to 2 Regalias from your drop zone. At first, I was excited about Regissa, but fell out of love as you only get her full value when riding her, and her rearguard skill itself, rather than playing towards gauging, just provides fuel, if that makes sense. Which means her herself cannot make a 15k body while on Angelica or Frigg. One could still consider running her to act as extra copies of Norn or Yggdrasil so you don't have to ride Norn from hand. Finally, the highlight card in my opinion, the Grade 1, Ordained Owl. When rolled upon, call it to rear. But at the end of the battle that this unit boosted a Regalia, you can push it to soul to draw a card. Very simple, but very effective. If only it had Regalia in its names as well. But regardless of that, being able to call it out of soul and to boost with it and immediately push it back for a refund allows for a good early game aggression without losing advantage. Once again, for the V Premium format, the win con for Regalia hasn't changed too much. An absolutely untouchable Artemis Grade 2 on the rearguard circle with Force 2, coupled alongside a restanding 2-1 drive Vanguard through the use of Norn and Yggdrasil. With respect to that, let's go ahead and build towards this base. 4 copies of Norn and Yggdrasil as our strong Divine Gauge engine, as well as our restand engine. 4 copies of Frigg as our new boss unit. Though I think Angelica would do more justice in this slot, I want to showcase the new cards. Then our non-Regalia WinCon. 4 copies of Twilight Hunter Artemis. It isn't out of the realm of possibility to see Artemis reach numbers such as 50 and 60k by turn 4. With the core of our WinCon set, we want to throw in more Regalia cards that help it. We're going to run a full playset of Strud as well as Var. Var provides not only soul charge, but also counter charge in a pinch, and with 1 counterblast and 1 Var. You would be able to get Yggdrasil into Norn, into the Divine Gauge to Norn, and a bountiful amount of soul to be gauged. Strud is also one of the best early game aggressors for Regalia as well. Strud passing its gauge to Artemis starts to snowball very early and can get out of hand very quickly. Finally, our ideal ride target. 4 copies of Ordained Owl. Thankfully, not restricted to only being able to call itself out when rode upon by a Regalia, but would prefer to be done so for its skill, the amount of value you get when ride over it, and have a thread on the side so you can boost thread with it feels amazing. Then, in our last 5 slots, I've opted to run 3 copies of Skull, the goodest of boys, to help find Yggdrasils, since getting the boost onto Norn is of utmost importance for the strategy, and 2 copies of Arctic, giving our restanding Vanguard an extra 5k power for the turn. Especially when we usually sit on Force 2, this can make a big difference. Into the trigger lineup, we run the standard 8 crit, 4 draw Sentinels, and 4 Helions. And the most important card of all, the mandatory starter, Incipient Longtail. Verb is best. As for premium applications, I'm very happy to include Ordained Owl into my deck. The deck for premium already ran a copy of G Ordained Owl to buy an extra turn and prevent deck out, but being able to use the new Ordained Owl to put the pressure on early, with Ordained Owl and throw it for premium helps push for lethal quicker once we get into our endgame. Regissa is another card I considered, as well as having Regalia names in Soul was very important, and being a 10k body version of Hemra makes for better numbers, but I couldn't find slots for it. Of course, if you do find spots for it, do include so, because it being a Regalia name and also helping towards the Regalias in Soul is very helpful. Obviously, if you can find slots, please tell me. In my list right now, she is kind of competing for slots with Gleipnir, and I value Gleipnir's ability to grab the 1-ups out of Soul. And then finally, I'll mention about Frigg. So right now in the premium format, it is predicted that NLK and Narukami will be like the top dogs of the format. And though Angelica is able to give Resist does not get past the board wipes that both Barrow Magnus and Narukami does. So being able to stay on Frigg for those matchups and having the ability to swap into Friggs because of the grade 1 Regalia Stride Assist really does help, so definitely consider running 1 or 2 copies of Frigg in your deck for those matchups. If those matchups tend to be the more prevalent decks in the format, probably up that count to 4 and have it as your main Vanguard. Back to the V Premium mindset. Alternate options you don't see here. Obviously, you could go for Regissa and cut on copies of Artemis to increase the numbers of Regalias in deck, or even add some copies of Angelica as an alternate option where her Hexproof provides more useful than the anti-board wipe. To conclude, I think I've already made my opinion clear on the new cards. In the V Premium format as it is, I don't think Frigg is a better boss unit than Angelica, but I appreciate the existence of both Regissa and Ordained Owl to further improve the Regalia deck, albeit small. As for Genesis as a whole, I believe that Astral Poets is still the best way to go for V Premium Genesis, but Regalias are very close behind second with such a robust package of support through clan collections and selections. In any case, that's it from me for this episode of Clan Collection Cores. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this and leave a comment down below because every little bit helps the channel. This has been Toku from YellowCard Vanguard. Toku out.